We are starting back up the prep series. I'm getting ready for my second show, and I know you have a lot of questions. What happened to the first series that I just stopped at 10 weeks out? Why would you start a series at 2 weeks out? And I have phenomenal answers for both of those questions. Why did I stop the last series? I'm going to be so honest, my last prep was so physically and mentally draining that I got to, I believe, 10 weeks out, and I couldn't keep up with it anymore. That, and my gym doesn't allow tripods, so I couldn't record anything at the gym, and nobody was going to watch 10 weeks of me just in my kitchen talking about my very low food. Which also ties into the second question. Why would I start a prep series with 2 weeks left in prep? And it's for the same reason. Nobody would watch the same exact video for 20 weeks. I have been living Groundhog Day for the past 5 months, and realistically, that's what a good prep should look like. You shouldn't need a new change every single week. Which is why in the past 18 weeks of prep, I believe I've only had 3 major changes. Which is why I'm starting at 2 weeks out. We're going to go over the past 18 weeks, what's been different, and what's left. Starting off with what is different from last time. So my training is identical. I'm doing the same split, maybe different exercises. It is push on Monday, back and hamstrings Tuesday, off Wednesday, push again on Thursday, total legs on Friday, and then just back on Saturday. That's what I ran last prep. That's what I ran in the off season. That's what I'm running now. Food-wise, last prep I was eating 1,800 calories daily. The last month I totally lost my high days too, so it was just 18 calories every single day. This time my weekly average of calories is 2,400. The reason I say average is because I have high days, medium, and low days. My high days are my one leg day a week where I'm eating 3,000 calories. The other 4 training days, my push days, my pull days, I'm eating around 2,500 calories. And my rest days, I'm only eating 2,100 calories, which is still an improvement from last show. In terms of cardio, we have done 0 Stairmaster this prep. I think I've done it twice for fun because I was talking to someone or chatting with someone at the gym. But in terms of actual programmed cardio, 0 minutes on the Stairmaster. Steps are at 15,000 every single day, and I usually hit more than that. A big help this prep has been the job that I'm currently working. I'm basically doing 6 hours of walking 4 to 5 times a week, which covers most of my cardio needs. This may have raised another question. How are you eating more, doing less cardio, and being successful on prep? I did a mid-loaded prep, as I like to call it. A majority of my weight loss was in the beginning and middle of the prep, so now I can kind of chill, feed into, and ease into the show. I started prep on August 22nd, and I dropped 24 pounds between then and November 1st. I lost 24 pounds in 10 weeks. I know I'm not the best with math, but that's about 2.5 pounds per week, every week on average. And because I started at a fairly high body fat percentage and I had enough energy on my body, my training performance held very well. I did not use or need a lot of cheat meals this prep. My only major cheat meals were Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. We'll get to that in a second. I had a family wedding, and then I got a burger and fries with my old coach after watching a show in Jersey. Back to Thanksgiving, I hit sub 160 right after Thanksgiving, and after Thanksgiving itself, my weight barely went up. I tracked my food, I had around 4,800 calories that day, and I was expecting some sort of major increase, and I think I went up 0.4 pounds. Now, I have been self-prepped this entire show, but of course I still reach out to my old coach just to kind of double check myself and get his feedback for things like this. And he told me to increase my food, which I happily did. I increased my food. The week after that, I dropped 3.2 pounds. I reach out again. What should I do? Increase food again, which gets us to our current meal plan. No changes in my program between the start of prep in August and Thanksgiving. Nobody would watch that prep series. I had that double bump up in food, and then I held that meal plan for about a month. Until somebody put me on to cream of rice. I'm a really bad influencer bodybuilder in the sense of I just love to eat, sleep, and train. Cringy, I know, but that's what I love. I love the food, I love the training, I love the outcome. And it hasn't been until recently where I really started liking the aesthetic side of bodybuilding, the pretty foods, the nice meals, the gym clothes, all that stuff. So I get introduced to cream of rice and I'm like, I need this in my meal plan yesterday. So the most recent change, and honestly the final change to my meal plan, because show day's in 2 weeks, was made on December 4th. On December 4th, I switched my carb cycling approach from 5 low days of 2,400 at the time and 2 high days of 2,800 at the time to a high, medium, and low day format. So up until this point, the foods I was eating were basically chicken, rice, kale, steak, potatoes, dates, love dates. Then I'd usually have like an egg white meal in the evening. December 4th comes and I switch to cream of rice protein pancake in the morning. Super easy to make. It is just 70 grams of whey protein, half a tablespoon of peanut butter, mix it with water, fry it. It actually makes a really soft pancake. And then I'd put cream of rice on top, fold it over into a burrito, and that's my pre-workout meal. Post-workout stayed the same, steak, potatoes, dates. I did make a switch. I switched out my fat source for my work meal. The meal I bring to work was my smallest meal, and putting olive oil over my rice made 0 sense because there was more olive oil than rice essentially. So I did switch out the olive oil to pistachio. Pistachios are great. They are a complete source of protein. They have fiber, they have fats, they have carbs, micronutrients. Great food. Was happy to add it into my diet. And then I kept the egg and egg white meal in the evening. Who doesn't love breakfast for dinner? Again, in terms of macros, 200 grams of protein and 65 grams of fat for the entirety of this prep. The only changes have been coming from carbohydrates. 200 grams of protein makes sense for muscle retention on a prep, especially when I started at essentially 190 pounds. I just never lowered my protein. And you may think 65 grams of fat is a lot, and that's okay. Everyone can have their own approach to dieting, to prepping. What I noticed last prep when I had very little fats is that my hormones were in shambles naturally. I could have thousands of calories, and I did post-show, not my proudest moment, but I could have thousands of calories and not be satiated, and I lived in hunger. Now maybe I'm just soft. Like obviously, those are all things that come from prep. However, I had essentially none of that this time. Because my fat intake was relatively higher, I actually felt satiety after my meals. And yes, of course, I got hungry, but it wasn't that insatiable hunger like the first time. My mood is better, my energy is better, even though I'm leaner than my first show. So personally, I know for me, a higher fat diet works. It may not work for you. Good thing, this is about me. Realistically, that covers everything I have done and every change I have made in the past 18 weeks. Where do we go from here? Again, the reason I kind of waited till 2 weeks out to recap everything is because 1, nobody would have watched 18 weeks of the same video, and 2, I wanted to wait till the very end so I can give you a total recap of this prep. As of today's recording and posting, it is exactly 2 weeks out, so next week I will record pretty much everything I just talked about, my food, training clips, check-ins, all of it. That way you can see what a normal week of prep was like. Then I'll record my peak week protocol, which I'd like to think I have pretty down. And then obviously I'm going to record show day. I already started working on my reverse diet and off-season plan, so I'll make a single video kind of going over that, much like how I'm doing now. And then videos after that will be logging the off-season. Call me crazy, but I'm already planning my 3rd show. It may be in end of 2026, it may be in mid-2027, that I don't know. But what I do know is that we are not calling this a Road to Pro series. Everybody does that. You know what everybody doesn't do? An AM Going Pro series. And that's what we have started here today. Thank you.